This is a straight up lion of a dog. Oh my goodness, you're beautiful. Lion or dog? Oh, they're there. Oh, there's manatees right there. Hold on a second. I think I just heard something breathe. Yeah. Okay. Check. There's 3 manatees right here, and they seem to have massive scars on their back. Hold on. That one right there. Oh, right there. Look at that. Oh, you can't see the reflection. Hold on. Okay, there's 3 manatees right here. And they've got massive scars on their backs. Almost looks like a sturgeon because of the pattern. There's one right here. There, you can see that right there. Beautiful manatee. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's right there. Oh my goodness. Look at the scars on the back of that one. Oh, that's what happens when people come through too fast in boats. And you know it's from the propeller because you have slashes every few inches. Are they playing? Oh, they're playing.
It was at that point he realized
absolutely playing.
They were not playing.
They're hugging each other and spinning in circles.
What an idiot I am.
They're hugging each other and spinning in circles. You could see the propeller scars. Let's see if I can get a better view. You can see there's a propeller scar on this guy's back right there. Okay. That one's got 3. Oh my goodness, look at the propeller scars on that. As the propeller spins as it goes by. And they seem to be dancing with each other in the water. Oh my goodness. And then look at the scars on this one.
They were doing the tango de la sexe, from what I was explained afterwards.
It turns around.
Starting with a longer, peaceful video that celebrates the beauty of life before we get into the misery of government.
Look at this. It swims.
How's my audio, people?
You'll see.
I'm back in the office.
A big blade. I don't know what that is. The rudder? A boat? Okay, now if the light goes down, that'll be easier for...
I got some amazing underwater footage as well. Audio is good, okay, because I cleaned the cables, redid it. I didn't redo anything, but... So this was at Wikiwashi Natural Springs. I'm going to put together a nice vlog of our experience.
This is why you're supposed to go through slowly. Oh my goodness, okay, there's one right there with all of those scars on its back.
It's wild. Like,
and this one right here.
Can't imagine how bad someone has to feel after hitting a manatee with their boat.
That is wild.
This is going to serve as basically like the 5-minute countdown timer until we go live, because we're going to cover some Trudeau, some Joe Biden, some Letitia James. It's going to make everyone want to puke. So let's look at beautiful bees. Manatees are my new favorite animal, hands down.
They are massive.
So they're solitary animals, which means that when they're dancing,
okay, now we're going to get the scars. Look at that.
Look at this. It looks like a sturgeon. If anybody's ever caught a sturgeon, you have like massive, beautiful patterns on the back of it. This is clearly the prop and like that little rudder thing that they have going down.
You need to drive slowly.
Sea cows, from a dog lion to a sea cow.
Okay,
that's my joke.
That's amazing. From a lion dog to a sea cow.
All right, done. Get out of there with that ad. Good evening, afternoon, morning. It's not morning. Good afternoon. Yeah, we're doing a live stream today because when I set this stream up, the weather was not so good. Now it's beautiful and sunny. I hear the kids have come back from a day with the mum, and I'll still get to do some fishing after the stream. But we got to cover some stories. I was away from the office all week and catching up. Holy cows, catching up. I'm using Rumble Studio again. And until they can integrate one improvement that I've suggested, which is to create a landing page on YouTube before we go live, because you set it up in Rumble and it sets up the landing page in Rumble and vivabarneslaw.locals.com. One of the issues is that when you run a paid ad on a stream, you got to go into YouTube and click this stream contains a paid ad. And so if you don't set up the stream beforehand, you got to go at the beginning of the stream once you go live to get to the page, make it monetized, and check that little box so that you don't get accused of breaking the rules on the CommiTube. Because the other thing I'm going to test out again today is the rack system that Rumble Studio has enabled. And if I haven't explained what rack is, I mean, I tell you it's going to revolutionize. It's not just because I have a contract with Rumble and I'm partial to them. I have a contract with Rumble because I like them. I've liked Chris since I first set digital eyes on him. That sounds kind of pervy. I have liked Chris since I first met him via the interwebs. I've liked the company since I first discovered it. So I'm not saying this for any reasons of contract. This is going to revolutionize the way content creators run ads on their streams. The system is RAC, Rumble Advertiser Center. And when it's enabled for everybody, you go live through Rumble Studio, and there's a tab that you click on and it says ads, and it proposes which ads are available for your stream. And you can read them and say, oh, do I like this one? Do I like that one? It tells you how much, what the ad revenue is per view. And so you can decide which company you want to run with and when during the stream you want to run with it, because if they're paying X whatever pennies per view, well, quite clearly you want to wait until you have the biggest viewership of the stream before you hit click and accept and they run the ad and you read the script and you run the ad, and it's beautiful. You can pick the ones you like to work with. You can pick the time of the stream when you want to work with them, which would be beneficial for you and maximum eyeballs for them. And I'm telling you, you don't have to have an agent. You don't have to deal with negotiating. It is going to revolutionize the way things work in terms of monetizing content on the interwebs. It's fantastic. It's phenomenal. And we'll see when we decide to go with the ad. I know which one I'm going to go with because I like it, because I already drink it. And no, it's not alcohol. Good afternoon, everybody. What a week. So I was up in, well, the area is what? Wikiwashi, Homosassa. We went to the Homosassa State Park. Amazing. We then went to Crystal River, went swimming with manatees, but I had a better view of the manatees from the kayak on the Wikiwashi River than I did snorkeling with them. But it's amazing. Florida is amazing. It's beautiful. And to finally get to an area that has fresh water that you're able to swim in, fantastic. And when I say fresh water that you're able to swim in, I've showed everybody a video the other day. Did I show the one of, let me just show you another. Not only can you swim in the river, but you can jump off trees into the river. Hold on, I'm going to pull up the video here. Oh yeah, there it is. Okay, boom, shakalaka. Here, I shared it on vivabarneslaw.locals.com a little while ago, but you're going to love this. At least I think it's fantastic. So if I go to share screen and I go to Viva Barnes Law right here, and I go here and I maximize this, check this out, people. There was a tree hanging over the river.
Okay.
Someone had carved little notches into it. Look at my toes. And I saw a bunch of teenagers jumping off a tree. Okay. Not to be outdone, I had to show those teenagers what's up. I measured risk, everybody. I had all of the worst case scenarios plotted in my mind. Right now, the worst case scenario, slipping, running down the tree, and getting your groin nailed in between. Okay, here we go. Worst case scenario up here, getting your foot stuck.
Daddy,
Yes, sir.
I can try.
Oh, what do you say?
You just shook the whole tree.
And the water was well deep enough.
3, 2, 1. Okay.
That's it. That was fantastic. I got to put that pause here. So we were up in exploring Florida, and Florida's a beautiful place. Does it have mountains? but it's got beautiful alligators. Say some in there. Oh, Lordy. So that's it. But we've had a week. What a week. There's been breaking news about Letitia James. There's an article that appeared in the New York Post about Letitia James, I don't know, not engaging in fraud herself, but having a double standard that makes her the most corrupt attorney general in recent memory. We've got the Trump appeal of nipple Judge Engeron's decision. We've got Jonathan Turley, who is shocked by what's going on in New York. Everybody who's ever operated in the legal industry knows what an absolute political persecution this is. We're talking about that. We're going to talk about Chrystia Freeland finally accidentally telling the truth. We've got some fun clips and we've got some law stuff. So while we're here, let me see this. Another feature that they've integrated in the Rumble studio is I can now categorize the tipped chat and come to them. Rumble is great and better for creators. I've been uploading gaming clips and music for a couple of years now. My content has an exponentially higher value count than on YouTube, says Lord of the Re. And then if we take that one down, and I can bring up this one right here. Pin. Shout out to my buddy, Sand King 0077, who's been streaming a lot on Rumble, sometimes for 10 hours straight. That's far too long to be streaming. That's going to cause some serious problems at some point in time, either with the butt or, muscles. I find that I'm having pains in the underside of my legs, but I still haven't gotten the better chair that I've been meaning to get. All right, people. So the way it works, if you're new to the channel, we start on YouTube, Rumble, and vivabarneslaw.locals.com, where I've made sure that we are live and well. We are. And what we do is we stay on YouTube for a little bit, and then we end on YouTube so that we can take our eyes, our feet, and our dollars over to Rumble or vivabarneslaw.locals.com. Now that I mention it, I forgot to pin the comment in the chat, in the Rumbles, in the YouTube. That is the link to the Rumble. Hold on one second. Let me do that. Put this on pause. And how do I do this? I want to just put the link to Rumble is right here. Link to Rumble. Boom. So you can come on over to Rumble. We're going to end here in about 20, 30 minutes and then have the remainder of the stream over on Rumble and then end it there and then have our exclusive after party at vivabarneslaw.locals.com. It doesn't seem that all of the Rumble rants are appearing in the stream. Hey, Viva, have you heard of John Ward? Says most evil. I'll have to Google that. Ginger Ninja says, I've been MIA for a few weeks. Had to watch the Fani hearings on Gouvea's channel. Sorry. By the way, after the fact, do you see how Judge McAfee was definitely going to come to the conclusion he came to? We're going to get to it, Ginger Ninja. We're going to talk about that as well because I put out a video yesterday, which I presume everybody has seen, just because the shorter videos on YouTube get far more viewership than the longer streams on YouTube. But I also, cut the streams. FUT Viva. Is that University of Toronto? Remember, chat, you're a world champion. Don't let your memes be dreams. World champion, John Ward, world champion. I'm getting confused with Mike Ward, who's the Canadian comic that I've had on the channel. Ginger Ninja, we're going to get there. Some might say the judge was compromised. Let me get my stool here. I don't think he might have been compromised in that he might have been too afraid to make the proper decision, but I think he set it up so that the Court of Appeal has no choice, but we'll get there. And by the way, Phil Holloway might be joining us at some point to discuss that. Rumble is great for all creators. Okay, good. All right, let's look, we started with the beauty of nature, and now, unfortunately, we have to go to the repulsiveness of government. Joe Biden put this video out today. It's impossible to keep up with the lies. And if they couldn't lie, they wouldn't be allowed to talk. And if they didn't have low information voters, and I say low information, not low IQ, because one is a matter of fact that is non-judgmental, and the other one is a judgment call as to someone's intelligence. Low information voters. They're not just Democrats, but I think they predominantly tend to be more on the side of the aisle that relies on the disinformation and has the bullhorn. Joe Biden put this out, and I've got so many things to say about this video. And who was it that it was Elliot who hold on a second, let me just see here. I want to make sure I get this right. Yeah, it was Tom Elliott. Okay,
all Americans, not just seniors.
Stop it, Joe. I'm talking. It was Tom Elliott, who's worth a follow on Twitter, who put it out, and it's a classic. Listen to this.
Moving. So all Americans, not just seniors, pay $35 a month, have a $2,000 cap for prescription drugs. I want to make those $800 ACA savings permanent.
Stop.
Meanwhile,
I'm stopping there. Understand what's going on here, by the way. This is a highly edited, pre-recorded, scripted video. Why? It's not like Joe Biden is giving a speech publicly in live time that they couldn't edit out that apparent stutter. Why would they leave that in?
moving. So all Americans, not just seniors, pay $35 a month, have a $2,000 cap for prescription drugs. I want to make those $800 ACA savings permanent.
Why would they leave that in? First of all, I don't believe that's evidence of a stutter. I believe it's evidence of someone who's lost his mind and can no longer speak in coherent sentences, such that they require highly edited, scripted, not live views. Why would they have left that in, though? They're going to use this to now say, look, there's evidence that Biden's had a stutter. So, you know, he's not demented. It's been a stutter. We're just leaving it in now. In a highly produced, multiple edit video. Like every time they cut angles, it's an edit. You'll notice the audio. There's edits. This is edited. Why they would have left that in can only be strategic. They could have just asked him to say the line again and say it properly. But that's not what I wanted to highlight here.
Meanwhile, Donald Trump is about the past and serving himself. This is the guy who doesn't care about science and reason. Remember,
Look at Obama. Look at this gangster. Look at this effing gangster. I look down on you. I'm the real gangster. Remember that time when I told you that we basically experimented on billions of people? We had the clinical trials on billions of people. I got away with it. And by the way, this is my boy right here.
this is the guy who doesn't care about science and reason. Remember, during the pandemic, Donald Trump told us to inject ourselves with bleach. He said there's nothing to worry about.
He said there's nothing to worry about if you do it.
Now Trump keeps telling us he's going to terminate the ACA itself.
Listen to this. Hold on. I want to also highlight the random spontaneous outburst of anger.
Savings permanent. Meanwhile, Donald Trump is about the past and serving himself.
And serving himself. It's about the past and serving himself.
Trump is about the past and serving himself.
Anger.
This is the guy who doesn't care about science and reason. Remember, during the pandemic, Donald Trump told us to inject ourselves with bleach. He said there's nothing to worry about.
He said there's nothing to worry about if you do it. No, that's interesting. I remember being alive at that time, Mr. Joe Biden. I remember this. I don't think that's what he said, sir. I mean, I know you might not be lying because you're too demented to know if you're even saying something that happened or not. It might have happened in your mind.
Supposing we hit the body with a tremendous, whether it's ultraviolet or just very powerful light. And I think you said that has him in check, but you're going to test it. And then
Did you know where the expression sunlight is the greatest disinfectant came from? I believe it was the first flu, the first Spanish flu. I'll double check that after this. Sunlight is the greatest disinfectant. Why? I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
said, supposing you brought the light inside the body, which you can do either through the skin or in some other way. And I think you said you're going to test that too. Sounds interesting.
I don't know why they threw this in.
Right. And then I see the disinfectant where it knocks it out in a minute, 1 minute. And is there a way we can do something like that?
Is there a way we can do something like that?
Injection inside or almost a cleaning, because you see
Nothing to worry about if you
lungs
do it.
and
That's what he said. That's what
there's a tremendous number in the lungs. So it'd be interesting to check that. So that you're going to have to use medical doctors with. But it sounds interesting to me.
Well, so floating an idea, something but he said do it, and there's nothing to worry about if you do it. And anyone going to fact check him? I said, community notes, we'll get to that next year. It's outrageous. They cannot do anything but lie through and through. Rely on the ignorance of the electorate to believe the lie. Say the lie so many times that it becomes truth. A lie so brazen. No person in their right mind would believe that anybody would have the audacity to make such a lie. Just keep saying it over and over again, and people will end up believing it. Oh, lordy, lordy. Okay, let me see here. I just want to check that everything is refreshing. Ginger Ninja says, part 2, do you recognize a common personality between him and another person with a gavel, maybe a Canadian citizen's inquiry? They're the same appearance of impartiality, spineless cowards, says Ginger Ninja. Ginger Ninja, we'll get to it because I think the judge McAfee did what he had. Well, I think he was a coward. I mean, there's no way around that. But I think he did do a sufficient job in terms of setting up a successful appeal. John S. says, you're starting to get quoted by other channels now, like Doug in Exile, Lumberjack, Logic, etc. None of them seem to be able to pronounce Fry right. That's fine. Because look, nobody pronounced my last name right. They say free heat, free height, fry height. I don't care. I'm not sensitive about it. One thing that is interesting, however, it's become a term. If you Google Viva Frei, you get Viva Frei. So that's Joe Biden lying, but it's a day ending in a Y. We're not done yet gagging. Here's someone who accidentally told the truth, but only because she's an idiot. I mean, I'm not going to say that she said it because, if I do, I'll get fact checked. But let me pull up Chrystia Freeland, among the most repulsive people in Canadian politics, had this to say. Let me put on pause and bring this up here. Chrystia Freeland finally told the truth, and wouldn't you know it, it was by accident. We're going to get a bunch of random subject matter, and then we're going to get to the legal stuffs of the day. Here, listen to this. This is a classic. You want to scratch your eardrums out with nails to make her voice end.
Of
But why won't
attracting
you follow
investment
his
and
example
good
and
jobs
actually
in Manitoba.
take the jackboots off the necks of Canadians?
I must say
that
that language is entirely inappropriate when we're talking about a democracy.
Well,
That language is entirely inappropriate when we're talking about it. I must say, cover your ears, children. That language is inappropriate. Go fuck yourself, Chrystia Freeland. I'm sorry. That's how you're going to dodge this? With what you did to Canada and to Canadians, I must say that language is entirely inappropriate. What do dictators do? They lock people up indefinitely. They freeze assets. They confine people to their homes. They medically experiment on them. They impose mercy killings on them. That's what actual jackboot dictators do. I must say, I find it very insulting to be told what I am by you. But by the way, listen to her accidentally telling the truth. I must say
that language is entirely inappropriate when we're talking about a democracy.
well,
I began by talking about Prime Minister Mulroney and the exceptional courage he showed in recognizing Ukrainian independence. There are people in the world right now who do have real dictatorships oppressing them, like the people of Ukraine.
Oops, I'm sorry. Was that an accidental dig at Zelensky? There are people who have actual dictators oppressing them.
Real dictatorships oppressing them, like the people of Ukraine. And to use that language, talking about a government policy you disagree with, is entirely inappropriate and cheapens our discourse and our democracy.
Go to hell, Chrystia Freeland. The best thing, I told her, hold on. It's entirely inappropriate. I don't want to deal with the substance of it. So I'm just going to say it's inappropriate and shame you. Go F yourself. Petty tyrant. Support Nazi regimes, squander Canadian tax dollars, literally to kill Canadians and literally to save money to the system that can't take care of the Canadians as it is. How Canada has become a world leader in euthanasia, shipping billions of dollars to Ukraine, hugging a man who gave a standing ovation to an actual Nazi. Zelensky can't pretend not to know who Hunka was. He can't pretend not to know who was fighting the Soviets in World War II. Oh, look at her. Go to Ukraine, Chrystia Freeland, and stay there if that is where your priorities lie. I mean, it's the abject destruction of Canada, and then they claim not to be tyrants while acting like tyrants. Maybe not as bad as other regimes. Maybe not as bad as North Korea. Maybe not as bad as the People's Republic of China. Maybe not as bad. Maybe not quite the same distance. But my lordy, is it the same direction? And my lordy, is it going in the same direction in America as well? When you get government officials who can, with no due process or with totally corrupt due process, which is no due process at all, freeze assets, nationalize assets, lock you in your homes, force you to ingest things into your body, human experimentation and euthanasia Those were the trademarks of what regime historically? I can give you one name and it rhymes with Schmittler. Oh, but they're not quite as bad. You know, they didn't kill 12 million people. They didn't go after Jews, gypsies, blacks, gays, and the handicapped. They went after all Canadians who refused to ingest themselves with something. And then the ones that got injured from what they forced them to take, ignore them, offer them death, mercy killings. Oh, shame. Okay, well, we started off with beautiful manatees, and now we're dealing with actual animals. So that's it. But now, speaking of corrupt kangaroo courts seizing assets, corrupt due process is no due process at all. Okay, Ginger Ninja, we're going to talk about it. Do I have it as a backdrop here? Judge Scott McAfee, I put out a video yesterday. We might get Phil Holloway on, who, if you don't follow him on Twitter, and he's got a new channel, Inside the Law with Phil Holloway, definitely worth a follow. Scott McAfee came down with that decision. It is currently being appealed, and he has issued the certificate of immediate review of his own decision so that it goes straight to the Court of Appeal, and the Georgia Court of Appeals now gets to decide whether or not to take it up. That's the video I put out yesterday. I won't summarize everything except to summarize that much. There are various ways. I say, like, I'm not susceptible of corruption. I say that, and I believe it, and it's the truth. That's not to say that everybody is not susceptible of intimidation. There's corruption, there's intimidation. These are two ways, coercive ways of getting either compliance or silencing individuals. Something like I don't think I'm courageous, but I think I'm stubborn and loud. That's not to say that I'm not susceptible of intimidation. Do this or we'll do that. Well, I wouldn't come out and lie, but you know, there are ways to get people to shut up. Whether or not Scott McAfee was corrupt in that he did that on purpose, or he might have been intimidated, he might have been judicially intimidated, he might have been actually just outright intimidated. He might know how things work in Fulton County. He couldn't do it. But then what could he do is issue a ruling that is so damning. The odor of mendacity, as he mentioned in his ruling, and do everything to set up a disqualification, but doing the disqualification himself. Set up a fact pattern that a Georgia Court of Appeals will say, yeah, you got it wrong, Scott. Shame on you. But he set it up so that they could have the layup. Odor of mendacity comes from his judgment. An odor of mendacity is quite literally the appearance of conflict, which he said is sufficient. He says, oh, look, appearance of conflict is sufficient to warrant disqualification, but it's a spectrum. And I don't have enough guidance to actually go to the full end of the spectrum to disqualify Fani Willis. Was he threatened? Was he trying to secure political success in the future? I don't think so. Was he trying to secure integrity with a corrupt DA's office? I don't think so. So whether or not he was a coward or intimidated or threatened or whatever, he came to the wrong decision in law, but he set up the right fact pattern. And they filed their, that is, say, Trump and the other defendants filed a motion for immediate review. Scott McAfee issued the certificate of immediate review. Said, look, this is sufficiently novel. I can carry on with other pending motions, but we're going to allow this to go for immediate review because it's a novel question of sufficient importance. And if we don't do this, it could cause irreparable or substantial prejudice to the defendants. And now we're going to see what the Georgia Court of Appeal has to say. So, Scott, I'm not black-pilled. I'm still optimistic, but I've realized now what the optimist is however bad it gets, you'll say, well, it's got to get better at some point. So I appreciate that. But we can call him a coward, and I think he is a judicial coward. But we don't know, what the level of intimidation was, or maybe he's just not that smart. I don't think so. The thing is this: if he were truly a coward who was never going to disqualify Fani Willis, I don't think he drafts the decision the way he drafted it. You don't say things like legally improper, odor of mendacity. Those are conclusions of fact that are damning. So damning that I don't see how a court of appeal is going to come to any other conclusion that, Scott McAfee himself should have come to. So there's that. Let me see here. I'm just going back to the chat to make sure everything here. Trump 2024 says naughty boy. Oh, where's my I gotta make America great again. Hat from somebody yesterday. DeSundin says, put the stupid Fani doctrine into Georgia law. It never should have gotten to this place. Most people are cowards these days. Weak men create hard times, says Trudeau is retarded. That's true. Trudeau is retarded. Sorry, that's your handle. I'm just reading the handle. That being said, it is also very easy for, behind the comfort of your anonymity on the interwebs, typing away to judge those who have put their faces, necks, and livelihoods on the line. Scott McAfee, some could say that ruling itself is sufficiently damning that Scott has exposed himself if there were that level of corruption. I think that's the case. But we're talking law here, so I think he set it up so that the Georgia Court of Appeals can come in and do the right thing. But we'll see. With that said, everybody, let me see, go to the chat in YouTube. Joe Scope says, I'm just going to read this. Viva Frei, is there a way a normal person without a specialized career can move to Florida to live and work? I have no idea where to start. Otherwise, I'm happy. I'm applying for, okay, Joe, don't make jokes like that, Scope. He says, otherwise I'm applying for maid. Don't make jokes like that. I put out a video. It was an interview with my immigration attorney. My problem, actually. Jeez Louise. I'm having an absolute brain fart. I'm having a total brain fart. I can't remember her name, and that's terrible. Oh, for goodness sake. Dorothy McCann, for God's sake. I had Dorothy McCann, my immigration lawyer, come on and explain the options. So look for that video. It's still out there. All right, what we're going to do now, we're going to end it on YouTube. Let me see who's on YouTube. 3,000. Come on over to Rumble because we're going to get into the good Fani Willis stuff. There's a lot of stuff in the Fani Willis. There was an article in the New York Post about Fani Willis's dealing with an Irish society charity blocking the sale of a property that was overvalued, that infringed on a lender's ability to recoup his loan. We're going to talk about the appeal there. We're going to talk about Fani Willis being just the most corrupt person in politics these days. Idaho Ranch Girl, $5 says, I have to go chase this herd of 100 elk out of my west field. And in case they kill me instead, consider this your inheritance, mon petit au jus. Idaho Ranch Girl, go have fun chasing the elk. Try to get one of them to, put a GoPro on one of their antlers and let them go run wild. You'll capture some beautiful video that you could probably sell to GoPro. So, okay, while everyone migrates, but before everyone migrates, holy crab apples, am I an idiot? You notice this stream said contains a paid promotion. I'm going to do this right now, and I'm going to use this rack, this wonderful thing that Rumble has created for creators. And I say it's an amazing thing. It's easy for me. I pick the product I want to work with because it's one that I drink every morning. Since I have discovered it, 1775 coffee. Attention all coffee lovers. Are you tired of the same old cup of joe? Say goodbye to bland and ordinary and say hello to an extraordinary coffee experience with 1775 Coffee Company. It's the year before 1776, people. And I'm telling you, look, it's strong coffee. I'd say it would put hair on your chest, but if anyone's ever seen me, you see me with my top up, I got no hair on my chest. In fact, I'm rather hairless. Don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's good, bold, strong coffee. And not in the way, not burnt like Starbucks. Rich, robust, and delicious. I could ask Marion to bring in the bag. We drink it every morning, and it's delicious. Picture this. A cup of freshly roasted coffee, crafted with care and passion. That's what you get with 1775 coffee. Every sip is like a journey through time. I can't say I've had the temporal hallucinations while drinking it, but it's damn good. When our forefathers brewed coffee to fuel their revolutionary spirit, that's why it's called 1775, people. Whether you're starting your day or taking a well-deserved break, let 1775 coffee be your companion. Here's the best part. By supporting 1775, you're not just getting great coffee, you're supporting a company that gives back to the community, honoring the spirit and of service and sacrifice. They've partnered with Rumble. It's a delicious coffee. The link, oh yeah, so we see it right there. Booyah. And the link should be in the description if they've integrated this properly. And it's a wonderful coffee. Everybody drinks coffee. Who doesn't drink coffee? Unless you drink decaf, in which case, what the hell are you drinking coffee for? Drinking decaf coffee is like drinking de-alcoholized beer. I guess it's good, when, I don't know, I was going to make a joke, but 1775, delicious coffee, wonderful to work with them, and it's wonderful that they've teamed up with Rumble. Bada bing, bada boom. Now what we do is we go and we migrate with our bottoms and our eyes over to the YouTubes, to the Rumbles. Get away from YouTube. We're ending it on YouTube. So I go here, and we're going to get into the thing. Oh, hold on. While you do that, I'll just share one thing that'll make you puke. Not this one. We've already puked enough there. It's a great meme. And it perfectly exemplifies politics and corruption. That's Fani Willis on the top and on the bottom. I've verified this as best I could.
Trump's comments were offensive. They were baseless.
Isn't it funny how they always immediately go to, I find that offensive. Well, if I find it offensive, then I don't have to deal with it. Wrong. I was going to say something. Wrong. I don't give a shit if you find it offensive. You could be as offended as you want. Answer the substance of it. Oh, I don't have to. It's offensive. How dare you use that language, jackboots?
Trump's comments were offensive. They were baseless. They were void of any facts and/or any evidence. What they were comments that unfortunately fomented violence.
Oh, yeah.
Comments that I would describe as race baiting.
Oh, race baiting.
Comments, unfortunately, that appeals to the bottom of our humanity.
Oh, God. Well, now we
stand up to an administration which is too male, too pale, and too stale.
Oh, I hate her.
Too male, too pale, and too stale.
Say it again,
too
crowd.
male, too
Say it
pale,
again.
and too stale.
Trump's comments were offensive. They were baseless.
Intended to incite violence. What did he say here?
Were comments that unfortunately fomented violence. Comments that I would describe as race baiting. And comments, unfortunately, that appeals to the bottom of our humanity.
Now go get those people who are too male, too pale, and too stale. Get them out of office. I don't know. Whatever you have to do. That's who we're dealing with right now. Letitia James. All right. We've done good. Everyone has now gotten off of YouTube, or at least a lot. There's still 2,700 people on YouTube. Get on over to Rumble or come to Locals, actually. That's the other best alternative. In fact, it's probably the best alternative. Here, hold on. Link to Locals, and then we're ending it there. Link to Locals. Boom. Too male, too pale? Can you imagine saying something like that in the reverse sense? I can't. I already have the rhyming one, but I can't say it because anybody who talks like that about anybody except for white males is racist, anti-Semitic, homophobic, transphobic, misogynist, Islamophobic. What's the indigenophobic? What anybody you use that phraseology with any other race, religion, ethnicity, creed, gender, or whatever the heck you want to call it, you're a bigot who's getting canceled. But if you're Letitia James, you get elected. All right, that's it. We're really ending it on YouTube. Rumble and Locals only as of